wheelchair, a crocodile, a devil, and an angel. For the wheelchair, my brother was born without this gene, dystrophin, it's called. No, the gene, I don't know, it doesn't have a name, but it makes a protein called dystrophin, which connects muscle cells to other muscle cells to the extracellular matrix and makes the muscles work. And it's an architectural protein, and he was born without it. So his condition, when it develops, at first it's just, you have a normal baby, it's crapping in his diaper and crying and smiling and all the things that they do, but when they become toddlers, they start to walk a little funny, like maybe one leg is longer than the other, or maybe they've had a hip replacement or something, and then over about a 10-year period, actually first you go to the crutches, and then you get into a wheelchair, which for me was kind of cool because it was an electric wheelchair, because my dad was a doctor and we had some money. And we'd go ripping around the neighborhood and blowing up things with firecrackers, and I'd jump on the back and say, go, 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 and we'd take off, not really going that fast. Someone could beat us on crutches if they were wanting to. But then over about a 10-year period, you get weaker and weaker, and then you finally die of respiratory failure, of pneumonia. The lungs actually are not muscles, they're just lumps of flesh. But the diaphragm and the intercostal muscles are muscles, and they help you breathe. They help push out the little microscopic air sacs that exchange oxygen for CO2. And what happens when those weaken too much, they fill up microscopically with fluid and you die. The crocodile. So I was 10, he was 14, and I'd done something to piss him off. He was my big brother, so he had to punish me. So he threatened to ram his wheelchair into me, which I don't know. You think maybe that's not such a scary thing, but to a 10-year-old, and these are metal footrests, so it can really hurt. So I ran up the stairs, and I was safe there, but I remember feeling this incredible need to get out of there as quickly as possible. Get out of the house, and I had this memory of knocking at the eye hole on the window screen to the second floor, trying to get out if I could drop down. But I wasn't that bright at 10. It didn't happen. So I had to somehow get out of the house, and I had to sneak down the stairs. There were two sets of stairs. One was circular and it was metal, and it made a lot of noise, and the other one had carpet on it. So I tried to sneak down there, and I would remember trying to do it without him hearing me, and I would remember the low whine of his wheelchair inching forward. And that went on for about 2 hours. He was patient. He was patient like a crocodile. And then the next card is a devil. He would get mad. He would spit on you. He would drop the F-bomb. He would get mad. He would ram with his wheelchair. If he couldn't get you, he'd get the wall. He'd back up and do it again. He was very determined. He'd come to my basketball games, and right before the other team would shoot a free throw, he'd yell, "Miss it!" And then people would look over at this boy in the wheelchair, kind of round, chubby-faced, greasy hair, and first with consternation, and then they felt bad about their indignation. And then, miss it! The second one, because he was the second one. And he loved shocking me. That was part of the devil in him. He loved to bedevil me, and he would shock me. He shocked me when I was about 13 or 14. He told me how many of his aides, his assistants, he slept with, and, which was not nice to me. I didn't know it wasn't part of the middle-class picture, which was about social mobility and living for the future and relationships, and this was not something I could really process. I know I didn't high-five him. But he was determined his whole life, he said, to beat this thing, to beat the illness. And this brings us to the last one, which is the angel, not the angel like with wings, but the angel, I think of like the better angels of our nature, Lincoln's phrase. Because the last time he went to the hospital, he was in an iron lung, which is a big yellow submarine thing, just his head sticking out. And they told him that they were gonna have to, that wasn't enough to breed for him, they're gonna have to trach him, which meant that he could no longer eat and no longer have his pina coladas, two of his great pleasures in life, in addition to sex, I guess. So he had to make the decision whether he's gonna get trached and live like that, being fed through a tube, and he determined not to do that. So they just pulled the food tube, and he died with dignity. Thank you very much.